What is up, you heathens and demons? Welcome back to The Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi. And today we're going to be looking at a crazy cult once again. And this one's going to hit a little bit home for me. I found out that this is branched out and it's now in my neck of the woods, and I'll talk about that later on. But we're going to start a 3-part introduction into the 12 Tribes cult. Now, if you didn't catch that said at the time of this documentary that there was 36 communities on 4 different continents believing in this crazy ass shit. But this documentary is really old. I mean, they're talking about shit in the 80s, and I think the documentary was made in the early 90s. And this cult has expanded because now this cult, the 12 Tribes, is in the very next town over from where I stay. In the very town that I work in. And I'm going to be trying to flesh these dudes out. I want to get a couple of them on camera. That's the ultimate goal. But first, in this 3-part series, in this 3-part introduction, we're going to find out what 12 Tribes is all about.
This is a place that's been set up where we can obey God all the time. All the time. These are goats. And they need to be milked twice a day. My name is Kashab Gil Aviv. And there's a meaning to that, if you want to know the meaning. Okay. It means the springtime joy that comes from hearkening with the intent to obey.
Where'd you get that meaning from? Because that just sounds really weird to me. I've never heard of this kind of thing before. Your name kind of sounds Islamic, sounds Middle Eastern. Don't know where you got the meaning. Maybe you got the meaning from the Middle Eastern language, and that's what it means in, Islamic tongues. I don't know. I think it's weird. I think it's very weird, and I think it's weird you ain't got no grill. I got teeth problems, we all got teeth problems, but you a pretty young dude, ain't got no grill, they ain't got no dentist on this cult fucking campsite, farm / whatever the hell it is. But at first, I was like, this is cool, man. It almost looks like a hippie liberal commune. Like these people got a way to live in their liberal little bubble. Didn't want to really deal with the world, and then he starts, oh, this is the place where we can really follow God.
I met the community one night in Princeton, New Jersey. I was a little skeptical and wary, for whatever reasons. I'm sure there's lots of good reasons for one to be a little wary about people and cults or whatever, But at the same time, I really wanted to be open to whatever it was that was going on. And I believed this was a place of healing.
A place of healing. A place of healing. They couldn't heal that grill. And if somehow miraculously they do pray that grill better, let me know. Let me know, because I can't really afford dental shit, and I'm getting old and my grill's getting all jacked up too. But you're a lot younger than me and your grill is fucked, yo.
12 Tribes is something that's emerging. We see ourselves as a spiritually emerging culture.
I just find this really weird, and maybe, it's because I'm on the outside looking in, But, you know, all the people out there, they're like, rage, why do you rage against Christianity? Christianity isn't that bad. Christianity's nothing like Islam. Christianity isn't fundamental like that. And I call it bullshit. And that's what I fight against all the time, right? That's what I fight against all the time. But this is something a bit different than that. Even fundamental shit like I battle against with MMA Jenkins and Girl Defined and Matt Powell. Even Matt Powell's really bad. But I find this a little scarier. And you're going to see that as we go through the next 3 episodes of my Crazy Cult series. And we really talk about what this 12 tribes thing is. Because this 12 tribes thing is all about indoctrinating children, and it's all about enslaving women in this male patriarchy that I fight about and talk about all the time.
We're very accessible to the public at large, but we do try to insulate our culture from certain elements that we see as undesirable. And I think most people can relate to this in varying ways. I think most parents attempt to insulate their children from certain influences that they don't deem as healthy.
My name is Shua, and I'm going to be getting married next weekend. I'm very excited about it because in a lot of ways I feel that it's a fulfillment of the purpose that I was born for.
Meet Shua. And Shua is going to be pretty much the focus of what I'm going to look at in this documentary I'm responding to on the 12 tribes. Shua to me is an open book. Shua to me is the example I want to use of why I find this atrocious. Shua is going to be our example of somebody trapped in a situation that I think they would like to get out of, couldn't get out of, and like I said, this documentary is very old. Maybe, you know, we'll be able to find out what happened to Shua since then. I haven't tried yet, and I'm interested. I would like to know what happened to her. And as we go through these 3 videos, look at her. Look at her response. And let me know if you feel a overwhelming sadness take hold of you. Seeing this little young woman, this young mind, this young soul enslaved and trapped into a cult she didn't choose to be in.
I know our children are very precious. And I really mean that. And it'd be nice if you could come to the wedding that's going to be here, because it's going to be 2 children that have grown up here that are getting married. So it's like, that'll be good for you to see. And they're you know, there's a purity here. There's a purity in them. And it's really wonderful. It's beautiful. It's precious. It's really very, very precious. I don't know how to say it. It's like, on all the earth, it is so precious. You know, they're preserved from a lot of things. And they're just so important.
You know, I agree with what this crazy dude is saying. Children are precious. The most precious things on this planet, in my opinion. I love my daughter. But something about this dude, man, is, you know, it's, like, I would not let this dude around my kid at all. My kid at all. You know, I'm like, no, something's not right about this motherfucker right here. There's just something not right about him. And I can't really put my finger on it outside of the fact that he is insane and should not be around children. I mean, none of these people, I mean, all of these people have got some wires crossed. But we'll get into it as we go through this 3 video series on this introduction into this crazy ass 12 tribes cult.
Our homes, they don't have a television right in the living room, and we do dress a little differently, and we don't partake necessarily in all the particular events that others may partake of. But a lot of that's because a culture is a delicate thing.
I've gotten to know some different kids in town, but the things that the world allows is a lot different than what we allow. I don't want to be influenced by certain things out there, and so I have to watch myself that I don't intermingle too much where I'd be influenced and then influence other children in the community or people in the community. Bring things in from the world, I guess you could say.
And here's another sad figure in this story. Another figure I'd like to find out what happened to him in his life, because this was so long ago. But at 17 years old, this seems like a good kid. And he's afraid to go out and mingle in his community. He's afraid to go out and meet people his own age. These people have programmed him to fear secular people as if we are some kind of demons, and that we will influence him into doing things that they wouldn't approve of him doing. And they've programmed him into thinking that they would be awful. But you know, if he was just able to see society for what it really is, yes, there's bad in it, but there's also a lot of good. You know, a bright, handsome young man like him could thrive in that society. But the fact that he's been born onto this farm, into this cult, takes all of that away. And that's what I really want to focus on in this Crazy Cult series, and even in my MMA Jenkins videos or Coffee and Bible Time videos. These really young people have been indoctrinated their whole lives. They want to think that they have the answers, that their reality is something they chose. But it isn't chosen if you've been programmed since you were little. Choice is choice. If you've been forced and spoon-fed something your entire life, how do you have a choice in your own belief? Take me, for instance. As I've said, I was not raised in a fundamental Christian home. We were Jesus lovers without really going to church or practicing any of that stupid bullshit that the rest of them practiced. But even I, from a young age, was indoctrinated with this belief that there was this hell I could go to if I was, you know, too bad. If I started doing really, really bad shit, I was gonna go to this hell and I was gonna burn forever. And I was indoctrinated with that shit from a very young age. And if you grow up thinking it, you believe it. And you don't have any choice in believing it until you come outside of that bubble, start asking the right questions that has no answers.
He ran out there.
Stay with me. Are you in the government? I don't want you two boys to gravitate together. Understand?
We don't believe that just two youth would be that good of an influence on each other. There's not much judgment, like self-judgment going on as far as just ideas and thoughts, and it could end up getting each other in trouble.
These are some of my children. This is Amida Ruth. This is Yatham. This is Eliana. And this is Yakara.
You know, not only are they not allowed to intermingle with outside society, but as children, they're not allowed to intermingle within their own society. Because children getting together is gonna do some bad shit. So these children have never had that opportunity to play together, to be Batman and Superman, or you know, to pick up a stick and pretend it's a machine gun and go to war with their enemies. They never had that. And I find that sad. I find that a tragedy, an atrocious sin of parenthood, to not allow your children that creative expression, which is playtime.
And I have one more girl named Hananel and one boy named Hossa. It was early. It was 6 in the morning. We weren't up yet. And I was in my room and I was asleep. And I heard a knock on the door. So I was just like, come in, or good morning, because you just said good morning. You thought it was a wake-up call, and they kept knocking. So I said, come in. And it was a big tall officer and he said, get out of bed and come down to the living room.
The legal battle is just beginning between Vermont authorities and a small fundamentalist Christian group that settled in that state. At the heart of their dispute is what church members call loving discipline, prescribed by the Bible. Some authorities, however, call it child abuse.
And no surprise, people that are going to live by the Bible are going to have a very immoral way of life. And they're going to beat the shit out of their kids. They're going to abuse their children. And this should come as no surprise because the Bible tells them to do this. Because the Bible has no morality. Now you can call me a liberal and you wouldn't be wrong. But you know, I'm raising a little child. And I don't spank her. You know, I've always thought that instilling absolute fear into an impressionable mind of a young child is the worst kind of child abuse. And it doesn't have to be torturing a child, but just putting that fear into that human being. Teaching them fear from somebody they should love is breaking a bond you really shouldn't break, in my opinion. And I think it leads to a bunch of broken people. I think that my generation is a perfect example of that. I think we might be the last generation raised on the belt. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure in the South and in places they still do it. But we're finding through cognitive psychology, through science and research, that there are better ways to raise our children than beating the living shit out of them. But we're going to get into this with a few more videos. And I'm going to try to flesh these people out from the community next to me. And I'm going to try to get some face-to-face interviews. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But the Crazy Cults series is all about exposing crazy cults. And I think that's what we're doing. And so far, we've been focusing on Christianity, and after this 3-part video series, the next segment of my Crazy Cults is going to be, you know, Quiverful again, which is another segment of Christianity. Christianity has a shit ton of really crazy cults. Now, I consider all of Christianity to be a cult, but they have a shit ton of really crazy cults. But we're going to get outside of it eventually, and we're going to look at other religions and other religious crazy cults, and we got plenty of time to do so. Because, hell, I'm going to do what the hell I want on my channel as long as I'm living. So as always, I'm your boy Nakasuchi. This is The Raging Atheist. If you like my videos, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share me on your social media. Comment in the comment section below. I'll see you soon.